Marlon Wayans was a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show with guest host Tiffany Haddish. In the interview, Haddish asked Marlon why she was never cast in any of his films. Despite auditioning several times, she even auditioned for a role that called for a Tiffany Haddish type. Here's Marlon's response.
Me and my family always say you're funny. You know, as producers, you know, you hire people and you cast people. You were always funny, but you was always on 10.
This criticism of Tiffany Haddish is nothing new, and it's something that we've all heard before. So today we've got our comedy hype analysts in the studio, Rita, Brent, Capone, and Pierre, to talk about if Marlon Wayans made the right decision not to cast Tiffany for doing too much. Now, Rita, I want to start with you. When you saw this clip and you heard Marlon say, you know, the reason why I didn't cast you was because you were doing too much. What were your thoughts?
Well, I thought a couple things. I thought it was cool that he was honest with her. He's a veteran in the game, and so if you're going to receive criticism from anybody, Marlon Wayans would be a good person to get it from. But did he make a mistake by not casting her? I can't say that. I can't say that with certainty because it may just have been back then he didn't see in her what we see now in her as an actress. But that is your right. It is subjective. You can cast who you want to cast. But for him to be honest with her in that moment, I think it was cool and maybe it's something she can learn from.
Pierre, what about you? What were your thoughts?
I agree. I agree with what Rita said. You know, it's production. People sometimes got to understand it's not personal. It's a business. This is a business, you guys. It's a business, and not all just about friendships all the time. Sometimes you can ruin a production because you brought friendship into it. Maybe she wasn't right for the part, and I don't like the way he gets some backlash about not casting her. He casted somebody,
right?
So it's not like he doesn't cast people. So he didn't cast her. He didn't feel she was right for the part. He didn't cast her. And what we see now of Tiffany Haddish, now she's a bigger star. She wasn't that same star back then, and he brought her in. Now I don't know why he would cast the Tiffany Haddish type when she became Tiffany Haddish. And why would you bring someone to audition for themselves?
Right.
I mean, I don't get that part. I mean, if you like her enough as her image, then just bring her in.
Right.
So I have no problem with him.
And Capone, what about you?
I gotta agree with both of them. I just think that I'm also happy he was very honest with them. He didn't try to shuck and jive. And the mere fact of she wasn't who she is now. And that's a very, very important thing. I just wonder why she never asked him backstage, why it had to be such a big thing about it, where I think she was doing a little boasting herself, I got my own production team, she ready, and things like, which she deserves, but we have a habit of putting each other on a spot where I think it was unnecessary. If that was the case and y'all friends and you can tell they're friends because she actually employs his niece. Mm. So it's love there. I just think that once we get in the spotlight, we love putting people on blast, and I didn't like that.
So I think a lot of people are upset, and as you know, this has gone viral because they feel like, Marlon, you do too much. Like, your films are known for doing too much. So to say, Tiffany Haddish, you were too much for my films. What is doing? It kind of raises the question: what is doing too much? Well, has Marlon done too much? Are his films?
Yeah, he does. He does everything on 10, and he's the producer of a project. You don't want two 10s on a show. You gotta have a yin and yang. You can't have everybody on 10 on the set. So if he says, I want to be the one on 10, I don't need you to be on 10. And that's fair enough. It's called a yin and yang. If you look at any movie, you see Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte. You got to have a yin and yang. You can't have two yangs or two yings in a movie. Believe it or not, unless it's a Chinese film. So I could see him saying, no, I don't want her to be doing that. She's doing too much. I want to be doing too much. Because a lot of his productions, you've seen some of his movies. He's had dolls lick his booty. I love him, but he's a wild boy. He wants to be on 10.
Licking booties?
No, I like him doing what he wants to do, being on 10 and the way he does it, and I agree with him doing.
What about you, Rick?
I mean, just generally speaking, does Tiffany do too much? I don't know if I agree with that because if she had done too little, she may not be where she is now.
Right.
And one thing that caught my ear, Marlon said that he met her at 16 and she was loud then. So this idea that, she just turned into this person, that's who she has always been. So to me, her authenticity is being rewarded. But I would just consider the source. When you say Tiffany's doing too much, who is saying that? Because the girl is winning.
Capone, what about you? Do you think, for Marlon to be somebody that we know is doing too much, his films are too much, and then for him to say, but I'm not going to cast you because you're too much?
I agree with both of them, what Pierre said and what Rita said. it's he's the star of his films, and sometimes people don't want to be overshadowed by co-stars. And I think that Pierre made a great point by saying, I'm the one who does this, and sometimes that extra 10 can't be controlled because doing too much is somebody who tries to outdo the star.
Never outshine your master.
Yes.
Have you ever been told you did too much, Pierre? Because I think you're known for having this energetic personality.
No, I've been told how great I was in productions. I've been told that. But the word
Talk
too much.
about
Too much.
So
no.
you've never been told you're just doing too much?
No.
So for you, is it a balance? Because I feel like you do have a lot of energy. Do you know, okay, when I'm on screen, this is what I do, but as soon as the camera's cut,
Well, I'll say this much about what Marlon said. It's not about I don't want you doing too much, but you can't be doing too much whenever you want to do too much. There's parts in this movie, like I said, if I want you to sit on the person's lap, you can be funny, but you don't need to be farting. That's too much. I'm not trying to stop you from being, a good, doing a lot, but let's keep it in the perspective of this role. You can't just do what you want to do in every role and take it somewhere I don't want you doing. That's not what I'm asking from you. And then you can't be like, you're trying to stifle my creativity. No, you're doing something that's not. I didn't write that character to do that.
right?
So it's more about, I don't mind you being, when the movies I've made, shine. If you looked at any movies I made for the love of money, all the slice movies, things I do, I want my people around me to be funny. But be funny in the context of the role.
Yeah.
Don't do some ignorant shit that's like, that don't even go wrong with the role. That's what I want to do. Well, you're doing too much.
Have y'all ever worked with somebody that did too much? Because I know y'all been in different projects and things like that. It was just just too much.
Yeah.
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that? What was that?
I mean, me as a comedian, sometimes being backstage when it's a feature or opening act, they trying to do too much to get the attention of the headliner, and you end up looking goofy. So I was taught to just chill and listen to the vets in the room because I'm not a vet, so I shouldn't have that much to say. But yeah, that will turn people off, because you will hear the headline as soon as they leave the room, be like, oh, I ain't booking that food no more. But they doing too much in the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I felt one movie I made with me and Kevin Hart. Our first movie was Paper Soldiers, and I actually had to tell him, man, calm down.
You felt like he was
Yeah,
doing too
because
much.
Kev was one thing that Kev was good at. He was good at creating ad libs in the scene, but sometimes it would throw the other actors off.
Sure.
If you're not sticking to the script. Kev, he would when we first was filming, he would just do a little extra. And it would be like something small where he would be like, man, I ain't going over there. I ain't going there. I don't want to go there. I don't need to go there.
Right.
That type. And so the other actors like, oh, what I'm supposed to say? Yeah.
So do you think because hearing that, thinking of Kevin Hart, I can't imagine somebody saying oh, I'm gonna pass on Kevin Hart because he's doing too much. Compared to, but we have Tiffany here, and we're like, oh, Tiffany's doing, or Marlon, who's known for doing too much. We have these different people that do too much, but here you hear somebody say, I didn't cast you because you were doing too much.
And trust me, Kevin didn't get all the roles he wanted.
Exactly.
You're finding out now. Go back and ask Kevin how many parts he didn't get, what characters he didn't get in the movies.
And
You know what I'm saying? So, because he was doing too much. Just because you didn't hear about it, don't mean it. But Kevin didn't get every movie he auditioned for in the beginning of his career.
And that's what I was about to say. We're looking at these people as they are now.
Sure.
Right.
We're not looking at to what they were.
Exactly.
I remember me, Kev, and Charlie Murphy would sit down and be writing, and Kev would want to put that in. Charlie would be like, nah, that don't fit. That don't go.
Right.
So everybody had a start, and that start you have to look back at. Just because who they are now, it wasn't always great.
But you have to take risks, right? Where's the balance between
That's exactly,
taking
yeah.
risks
But what's that mean, risks?
like what Capone said, if you're ad-libbing, in a scene, when do you just say, all right, I'm gonna take that risk and do that, or I'm just gonna stick to the script?
Well, I think you should be able to talk with the crew, with the director and stuff, because it's unfair to you just go off on a tyrant. And I got it now. I'm an actor. I don't know. You're making me look bad. So just because for your glory, it's a team. A production is a team. I don't mind ad-libbing here and there, but let me know where we're going with this, man. Don't make me look like a fool because you want to shine.
Actors feed off of each other. And if I don't know where you're going and I don't know when you're going to stop, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
That's unfair.
Right.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna read so Marlon retweeted this conversation, and he wanted to make sure, it was known that he said used to be, which I think this is what we kind of touched on. She used to be, but she's matured and she's a bona fide star, and I'm proud of her. But I want to go a little further and read some of the comments and,
All right,
and
here we go.
get your thoughts
Let's bring 'em out.
on
Read
this.
'em.
So this is what the people are saying. So one user responded, "You had an opportunity to help her and you didn't. You are not a friend. You are an obstacle that she had to overcome. You're a hater." Then you keep, this is for the people. "We know what you meant because you said it. She asked and you answered honestly and respectfully. People are just trying to spin and turn into something bad." Here's another attack on you know who. Black men. Surprise. And there's one more that I do want to read because I want to get y'all thoughts on it. This is interesting because Marlon always seems to be on 10. So it seems like we have, a little bit of riffraff going back and forth in the comments, but we know how the internet is.
Yeah. But
And
haters,
but-
though?
Right,
yeah,
the
that's
That's the part I have. Hater, but didn't someone get a role? Did some black woman get that role? So he hired somebody black. Just because he hired her, I mean he's a hater.
But also, you have to trust the process. You're not going to get every role,
Sure.
so that door closed and 100 more opened. So this idea that he was an obstacle, I absolutely don't think that's true.
She should thank him because that's part of her process.
And
she
which,
went through.
and
to
when
get where
she
she's
plugged
at now.
that, which Capone mentioned earlier, she
Right.
plugged because whatever she did go through, now she has She Productions.
There it is.
And now she makes a place for her own roles.
Right, it is.
And when I saw it, I was a little surprised. I was just like, dang, I would think that would be the avenue for her, but I mean, she took that and did something greater and made her own
Now she can hate on some actress.
Now she cannot catch
So y'all can write about her next production. Some actress say, "You didn't put me down, Tiffany." Well, now she a hater.
So let me ask this because I know y'all do different projects. Would you cast somebody like Tiffany Haddish for any of your projects?
Sure.
Hell yeah, if I want to make money.
Right. Damn.
So
no.
before the fame, if you saw that she had talent,
I would.
but you kind of feel like she did too much.
If she's
would
right
you
for the
cast
role,
her?
I would. Of course, she's a talented young lady. Of course, I'd have hired her. No ifs, ands, or buts. But if she wasn't right for the part, then I'd be on that list of haters because I wouldn't have hired her for that. I got someone else. I'd get you. Maybe she had to be a analyst, a top-rated analyst.
And I mean, if there's anything going on like off screen, like if they're saying, well, she's difficult or inappropriate off screen, I feel like it should be more of a village or community. I ain't never been in no damn movie, so maybe y'all can help me out. But if there is someone doing too much off screen, are there not veterans and people in place to be like, hey, shawty, chill out for a minute?
What's off-screen mean? What do you mean by off-screen?
Like just in the
In between
general
the cuts.
recording area, when you're not on camera, when you're not off camera, and say you're
don't
doing
worry.
too
There's somebody
much.
does that. They'll have somebody.
Yeah, I'll still take that chance.
Would you take that chance in casting someone like Tiffany?
Yeah, I would, but I don't know. I've never worked with Tiffany on a film,
Right.
so I don't know what the back scenes are. For instance, Monique, everybody loves what she does on film, but it always falls back that she's hard to work with. So I don't, you gotta really, I guess, work with some people to find out what it's really like.
I like that. Yeah. So with that in mind, do you think, or do y'all think that Marlon made the wrong decision in not casting Tiffany Haddish?
No.
No.
I mean, his movies have been pretty much successful. You know what I'm saying? And he's been successful without her.
Right.
She's been in movies that weren't successful. So it's a toss-up. It doesn't mean just because she's going to be in a movie, it's going to be automatically successful or not successful. So he made a choice, and it didn't. It seemed to work out for him, and it worked out for her career so far. So I see nothing.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he cast her now.
Right.
Right.
just dip in there.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I don't think he made the wrong decision. As a producer, like he said, you have to make a decision that's best for your production at the time. So if that's how he felt at the time, that's his right as a producer.
I would say Tyler Perry made the wrong decision by not booking me. He's a hater.
Damn. You kind of like Medea's boyfriend. I can see that. Yeah.
You hear what he
too.
said? Medea's boyfriend?
Yeah.
I can play Medea. Okay.
So Rita, let me ask this as a black woman that's a comedian. Would you say what do you think about Tiffany's image? Do you think she's the representation of black comedians, black women specifically, or do you think it can be separate? Because I feel like she's, like you said, she's continued to be pushed. Regardless of people saying she's too much, she's still being pushed. So is that the representation of black comedians, or what are your thoughts on?
Well, she may be the representation for people who are freaking hermits and don't have the internet and can't see that there are other black female comedians out there. So yes, she's in the mainstream a lot. So I understand that her image is plentiful, but I don't think there's like a stereotype because I have my own following.
Right.
I know B. Simone has her own following, just hilarious. So I think there's room for multiple black female comedians. But this idea that, you know, everybody has to be a Tiffany Haddish, I would hope that people still appreciate other folks' talents, because if I'm honestly speaking, I kind of envy Tiffany because she's outgoing, you know, she's dancing when she's on late night and everything, and I don't necessarily feel like that's my personality, and so I wonder, are doors going to be open for me if I don't do the Cabbage Patch on the late night, you know? But that's her personality, and
right.
she has been this authentic since she came out. So I would hope that people just respect black female comedians for their respective talents.
I like that. And have you ever felt pressured to be anything like Tiffany or have a performance like Tiffany?
I mean, I've auditioned for some roles that required me. Well, the roles that I have auditioned for have required me to be kind of like attitude, like, you know. And me being from the South, I have a Southern presentation in my audition, so I always end up sounding like a black church lady, you know. So I got to figure out how to fix that shit for myself, because I end up sounding like, you know, Mama Jones on the motherboard, and that ain't what they want.
Right.
But no, I have never entered an audition thinking, okay, let me go in here with the Tiffany Haddish spirit,
right.
unless I'm thinking to be outgoing. So no, I don't feel that pressure. Because I can't be Tiffany. That's not who I am.
No.
So you gonna appreciate me for what I got to offer.
Were you about to say something?
No. I was just listening. No.
Any comments on that, guys? What are your thoughts coming from men in the industry?
I personally think that they stereotype and they make it seem that there's one. They push one. And I think that we fall into the comfortability of that one person being pushed, and we don't push ourselves. Or, you know, like, to ask that question. I mean, she has a whole different outlook on comedy, talent, and all of that, but you have to compare her. They don't do that with white comedians. You know what I mean? So, ain't nobody, I think, Pierre's successful, Capone. Do you think you should change and wear glasses and be like Pierre? No. Why do I have to do that when I have my own personality? If I'm not cast for who I am or what you want me to be, then go to the next person. But don't put me in a category where I have to be somebody else.
But you know, it's funny you say about Tiffany. Name three stand-up female comedians that are stand-up comics and who are actors and working right now. I could say
Wanda Sykes.
But is she really working right now in the movies or TV shows in front of the camera? I would say Leslie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say Tiffany Haddish. What do we notice in that trend right there? Loud black women. I mean, let's be honest. Where is the anti that? You know, that isn't that loud? Why aren't they perpetuating?
Well, Issa Rae, she kind of doubles as an actress comedian. Zashir Zameda.
But she's not a stand-up.
No, she's not a stand-up.
Right, I'm thinking stand-up.
Zashir Zameda, who was on SNL, she has a lot of work coming up now.
But you get what I'm saying.
But you can name them. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. You can
but I know
name
the two ones that are hottest ones are the louder ones.
Why are they hot? Because white people book them?
Well, they're always on TV shows and movies and TV shows and movies and TV shows.
Because white people book
them. Right. Is that what they're looking at when they look at them black women and say, you know what, we need a little someone this, girl, a little that. But I'm just being honest. Yeah. Why don't I see more people like yourself? You know, a little more quieter or whatever, more cerebral. What's the word?
Cerebral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew you were.
I said
cerebral. Yeah, it's more cerebral. So I wonder that sometimes. I don't want to blame Leslie or Tiffany. They're doing their thing.
Right.
But the machine might be perpetuating those images more.
But it seems like there's not a lot of room. You know, it's not a lot of room for multiple types of, and even male comedians. It seems like black male comedians is not enough room.
No, this room.
Well, they're not creating the room.
They're not choosing to create the room.
Yes.
There's enough TV shows and movies and stuff. Yes. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. I like Tiffany, but Tiffany has to be in every movie. You know, almost every movie.
Yeah.
There's other actresses, funny comedians, stand-up comics who ain't maybe that image. That ain't getting those roles. Why not? Because I think they say Tiffany Haddish type. I want a Tiffany Haddish type. I want a big Leslie type. I want a Leslie type.
So what's the actor that's in every movie? Gator, what's his name?
Who?
He plays everything. He played Gator in his first movie.
Sam Jackson?
Samuel Jackson, yeah.
You don't know.
I couldn't think of his name.
Now you don't know who Sam Jackson is.
But you know who he was when I said he in every movie. He played a comedian.
Y'all starting to go over. You heard from us, now we want to hear from you in the comments below. Is Marlon Wayans wrong for not casting Tiffany Haddish? Let us know what you think. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.